This segment will cover the geospatial feature on the VoterListsOnline service, and what we'll do is use a commonly given example that we've had from clients in the past and a good usage of this feature. The example that we'll use is that we have a hospital initiative that's targeting lower to mid-income families in a particular area around the hospital. And one of the recommendations we give on pulling the geospatial aspect is that you try to narrow down your query to as close as to the universe as you possibly can. And since this hospital actually covers a 2-county area, what we'll do is we'll cover both of those in our search. And then since we're targeting mid to lower income families, we'll click on micro-targeting and select that range. And then we'll go to the Add Geospatial feature here. Now, just going through these options here briefly, you've got several different ways that you can select your options here. You've got the bounding box, you've got a radius, polygon search, and then if you are very well versed in entering latitude and longitude coordinates, you can actually select this option for that. And then you have a GIS library, which I'll go into further details a little later. So what we'll have here is we know where our hospital is located, so we'll zoom in here. And we're going to target this hospital in this particular area, and we're going to do a radius search on that. So I'll select the radius search option, left click on the data point itself, and then drag with your mouse. And you'll notice over here in the bottom right corner that you have the orange box that gives you the kilometers and the mileage on the radius range. So you can drag out and you see that number changing there. And we'll go as close to 3 miles outside as possible. Right click, and it'll confirm that data point, and what it will do is begin to generate the count. Now, the radius is a good option also for those people that are working on media markets and they're trying to reach an audience outside of a particular area. You can do a radius on that and pull those data points within that circle, how many ever miles outside of that range is possible. And what this does is actually base everything on latitude and longitude, so this count will take longer than the typical counts on the website. So you'll have to just basically bear with the process. And it's one reason I was mentioning to try to narrow it down as much as possible. And for this, we actually pulled the counties there. So here we are. We have our result listed here. So we can go ahead and hit the and then close, and we'll see that it transfers it over. And then we can go ahead and generate the count based on households over here. And again, this will take some time, so just bear with the process. And you can use the different options, as I mentioned, with the bounding box, which will give you the square or the rectangle, the polygon, which will help you if you're trying to draw as close to a city limits line as possible, or if you're wanting to draw lines to avoid certain subdivisions or certain areas of town. You can use the polygon shapes to do that as well. And then once we go through this and we see our count here, I'll go back into the GIS library and explain that feature. But briefly, just to cover this information here, when you've got your count, an aspect that you can use is a spatial visualization tool to pull that up, and it'll actually put the dots based on each one of these data points in there, so you can kind of look and see where these fields, where the data points are and what areas as well. But this will give you the audience that's influenced by that particular hospital, and you can do a mailing based on those people who are more than likely the ones who are influenced by what goes on with that hospital initiative for the example that we had. Now, to explain the GIS library, to do this, we'll switch over to Texas, which will give you the better example of what that's used for. A lot of times in the data that we receive from the source, the data does not contain the actual boundary lines or any kind of data points that mark city council districts, county commission districts, etc. So what we typically have had to do in the past is pull the information from the county's website or the city's website in the way of shapefiles. And essentially, it's shapefiles or latitude, longitude points to where we can upload those into the system, and you can drop those shapefiles, the particular districts that you're looking for, into the count, which would be the polygon shape essentially, and then it will pull the data points based on that. And just to show you as an example of what we have, Texas, we have quite a few listed here. And you see for Houston, we have the city council information, San Antonio, Lubbock, and you see that here. So essentially, if you're looking for a particular San Antonio City Council District 6, you click on that and hit create, and you'll see that it draws that line there on the map for you, and it will generate the count for you as well. If there are instances where you're looking for the information, certain localized district information, and it's not loaded in the library itself, you can contact us, and we will definitely try to search either online or call the county or city entity to get the information sent to us to where we can append that data and to be able to run the queries on that. And so that really covers the information that you can use just for these particular districts. And you can do overlaps if need be and do the operations of or and to get your to generate different counts. And as I use the example with the hospital initiative, media markets going outside, 5-mile range outside the city, a lot of times radio stations doing broadcasting, for airing ads or any kind of contest that they'll do a mailing on. Things of that nature are very good usages for this, as well as we see here, with political boundaries that are not included in the source data itself. And that covers the geospatial feature on VoterListsOnline.com.